Hello, world. This is Curse Zero. I am reporting here with Grandmaster and The Haunting. And we are here to give you all these dots you need to know in order to know what is going on with reality, what is going on with you, and what will happen very shortly and very soon coming. The whole thing is that basically you need to pick up your barrel of salt and get ready because I'm about to slam it right in front of you. All right, we're going to say roughly, we're going to put a number on this, but there technically is a number because it's pretty big. So we're going to say decillion, which is about 10 if you start where million is 1, billion is 2, trillion is 3, and so on. Okay, quadrillion is 4, quin is 5. There's no need to exceterate here. So the whole basically thing is that's how many years ago, and I am talking about the effect, Big Bang, the cause that made the effect of Big Bang. Cause and effect. Okay, so basically what had happened here was there were these beings, and I tripped over this giant rock because I sat here and connected these dots over my entire life, and this nearly shattered me today. Like I break a few people every now and then. Yeah, this nearly got me today whenever I stumbled upon this. So basically, there were these entities, all these as astronomical number of years ago. They basically, for a term of understanding, created a simulated universe, a virtual reality video game, and put themselves in it. And the whole thing was is that they could not get out of it. They put their simulated minds into the device. More or less, yes, what exactly you're thinking, but I'm not going to say it. So the whole thing is that they created a virtual universe where they inputted their minds into it this many years ago. Well, that was one. They decided they didn't like that virtual universe anymore. And not being able to escape that virtual universe, guess what each one of these separate entities, beings, whatever you want to call them, decided to do? They each decided to create another virtual universe where they put their consciousness into that virtual universe. And guess what happened? They decided they didn't like that virtual universe. And it became a very vicious, a lot of cycles. So, like I said, this happened all these years ago. And now we're here now suddenly because all this happened way back when. And now we're in this ultra computer, overly simulated computer, on top of computer, on top of computer, on top of simulation, on top of computer, on top of simulation. It's like nearly infinite number of times we're within something. That's the whole basic thing. And here's another kicker. Here's your next kicker. The next step, basically, of where we're going, our virtual reality, since we can't go back, we have to go forward. That's the only way we can go. Our virtual simulation we're going to be going into is exactly right here. We're using it right now. The way I'm talking to you, what we're doing, the internet. That's the World Wide Web. That's our next virtual jump. We're going to all take our consciousness and insert it into the World Wide Web. And as soon as we do, giant 24-inch dildo up our booty holes and we're stuck again.
Yep. I mean,
And
we're in a we're basically like you mentioned here all back that we're are a four-dimensional being in a three-dimensional world seeing 2D.
Exactly.
And if nobody understands, just think for a moment here, okay? When we, I mean, when when these beings created these files in this video game, they don't like the first one. Let's do the second one. We don't like the second one. Build the third one. It's like they're building this game, but making it a file. Making it a file. Each time it's a file. It's a file. It's a file. It's a file. It's a file.
It's a folder
And
file.
they want to they cannot stay with one. They got to build another one, another one, another one, another one, until they got all these files, all these worlds. Dude, hit Control A, pick up a goddamn file, run with it, pick the one, and just leave it.
Don't keep on going into a folder saying Control A, take the entire folder and drop it into a new folder and delete the old folder, because there's so much residue left over.
Hell
Which
yeah,
is
there
what the
is, there
Mandela
is.
effect is, everyone. The
But
Mandela effect basically is what you remember from the old folder that they controlled A, every living species, and threw it into this new folder suddenly. We're being jumped through folders in a computer file. And the whole thing is that none of this is real, dude.
it's like we're being put in multiple of APK files continuously, and can our consciousness handle that? Being from one APK file to another. I mean, how far? I mean, what's the limit? I mean,
Yeah,
what's the
that's.
limit?
I just thought of a good way to explain that. Remember how you right click new folder and then you
Yeah.
go into the new folder, right click new folder? That's basically what they've been doing for nearly eons. And then all of a sudden they was like, okay, let's go sidetrack and then let's go dive into this new folder we created off of this one and delete everything we done made and go off of this one now. And that's what the Mandela effect happened. They decided to drop everything and put it into a different folder, delete that entire folder, and start off from there. But the whole thing is that we're still trapped within the computer program, within the computer program, within the computer, within the program, within the simulation, within the computer, within the program. And it's just a vicious cycle. You don't know which way it all goes, but we're all within like an infinite amount of times, dude.
Oh yeah, man.
So basically, it's like we started off, whenever computers started with, bytes, and then it went to megabytes, and then it went to gigabytes. Now we're in terabytes and stuff like that. All of that information is just accumulating to the point where the hard drive is going to fry eventually, ending everything.
Yeah.
And that's what the Mandela effect is, man. That's basically the components of the hard drive starting to basically malfunction. And everybody has their own personal Mandela effects that they agree with, and personal Mandela effects are like, yeah. But a lot of people remember buying the Tyson Holyfield fight and remember watching that because they watched it live. And there's an Easter egg for everybody.
I remember watching that fight. And because at the time of the fight, it was a big old hype. They're comparing the height, the weight, styles, their fighting style. To me, it's kind of like Rocky versus Drago. What it was. Holyfield's Drago. The dude is high tech. The guy can fight like a motherfucker and shit, dude. The guy is just high tech kind of fighter. Now Tyson, that fucker was a brawler, man. This guy was from New York, a brawler. And he could go on the inside and knock you on your fucking fat ass and shit, dude. Like, holy crap. Where am I? I don't remember. Was it good for you? I don't know. But the fight was like, dude. The fight was hyped up, man. Hyped up. Like, Tyson was gonna make so much money. And he was already in trouble with the law anyway. He got out, been in prison for 6 years, just got out, and he won some fights, but this one he lost. And Holyfield tied his arms up, and all of a sudden they're like this and shit. All of a sudden you see Tyson biting his ear. I'm like, what the fuck?
And then that's what I remember.
The piece of the ear was on the fucking mat.
I don't. He didn't just bite him. He bit him twice.
Twice.
Yeah, I don't remember this little pussy ass bite that I'm looking at now. I don't remember this little nibble.
This was like Jaws trying to eat a fucking pig in one whole thing, man. Like, holy
yeah.
fuck.
All right, now
and here's the sad part. There was a rematch, and the same shit happened again.
Wow.
If I remember correctly, all right, I might have to research it and everything, but if I remember correctly, they had a rematch several years later, and basically Holyfield started headbutting him during the match, and Tyson bit him again.
Wow. So
there was no love lost between those two at all. Period.
They fucking hate each other.
I'd like you to personally bring up a personal Mandela effect that has like greatly impacted you, like a personal example.
Did you say me?
Yeah, you. I just want to see if you have a personal example that you can pull off the top of your head that's really messed with you for a moment. It's like, that's not right.
It's a couple small ones, like for instance, like I was saying earlier, the Karate Kid thing with the headband. Or even the Monopoly guy, you know, does he have an eyeglass or not?
Yeah, because that was the whole point of Ace Ventura. The only thing that guy in Ace Ventura actually had was the suit and the monocle. The monocle was what made him the Monopoly guy, and the reason why he called him the Monopoly guy. That monocle was like iconic, and like I want to actually say like just
kind of like Mr. Peanuts.
Yeah, just for shits and giggles, bro. The whole thing is a deck of 21. I want to say the monocle came from the first dimensional reality as well that I personally remember. Because I've been through 3. This is my 3rd dimensional reality. Because I can say that there was 2 that Daniel's son had the Red Rising Japan sun as his bandana. And then we suddenly get here and it's the lotus flower.
Right. Yeah.
Like you can't that's like it's like explaining to the sheeple one thing, man. You can't like get it through to them, and it's going to come down to something on the level of suddenly, and this is an example, so nobody flip out here. Right? This is an example. Something on the level that suddenly Newton's law of motion is only 2 instead of 3. That's an example. That has not happened yet. There's no Mandela effect on that, but I'm just stating something on that level has to happen. But here's the thing. Maybe then the sheeple won't wake up. We'll wake up with 6 digits on our hand one day, and only 35% of the population.
Did one of these tech companies have a Mandela effect?
What?
Did any of these tech companies from Silicon Valley have a Mandela effect?
Hyde Company.
High tech company.
I don't understand the question.
Did any of the high-tech companies in Silicon Valley, from Facebook, Google, Apple, and so on and so forth, have a Mandela effect recently?
Why do you think there's so many updates on things constantly all the time to changing the way things look? That's the best answer I can give you. Like every time you turn around, every time you get used to certain things, there's suddenly an update and everything changes. Yeah. That's the best answer I can give you on that, because like I just complained about YouTube, and then it got fixed. We went back to the old style, and everything was perfect. I had my actual link changing back and everything, and now guess what? It's back to where it doesn't change the web address anymore, but it actually works properly now.
Do you still listen to your playlist at night time?
Yeah, I'm a zombiac. I listen to music while I sleep. That's what I do. But it hasn't messed up since this new update that happened 2-3 days ago.
Okay.
It actually works properly now. But yeah, guys, that was the answer for high-tech things. They're constantly giving us updates, so you can't technically call it a Mandela effect because they're changing it anyway. And they can validate your Mandela effect by, oh, this update was done at this certain time, so this is why everything changed.
Okay.
And basically, we're discussing something that I've been on top of a decade, and the internet started regurgitating about 2 years ago. Because there's so much overwhelming information that the internet would have to not start puking. Like risky business. Let's talk about risky business for a minute, guys. Let's explain this real quick.
That movie sucked.
No. How come? Let's go off of basic science here. How come those certain pair of glasses and white button-up T-shirts sales increase after Risky Business and not just pink shirts? Because there's chicks who would rock pink shirts. Every chick in the world would rock a pink shirt, slide around in her underwear, make it look real sexy.
Oh yeah.
So why in the world do all these chicks have these glasses and this white button-down shirt? Let's go off of Chris. Let's jump subject here, and we'll go to Adam's family. We won't even talk about the double D scenario, but we will talk about Cousin It for her double T that wasn't there before. And then we'll jump to the Christina Ricci character and make you realize that entire joke that was devoted to her looking like she was supposed to go to a funeral where she's in a completely black garment like you're supposed to be in a funeral. Not this dress with random white flowers everywhere. What's up with that? Like, you don't mess with stuff. You're messing with stuff really bad now. You're not just messing with one spot of something where it's there 3/4 of the movie, not the entire movie. No, you're messing with something completely on covering somebody throughout an entire series now. This is the level of where they're getting at. Tyson was medium level. Mona Lisa is medium level. The Last Supper is medium level. And that's how I broke my friend's next door neighbor, my friend of my next door neighbor. That's how I broke him, because we was starting sitting down and we was talking about the Mandela effect. Because I walked in and I said, this is going to be a 420 you're never going to forget. And he laughed. And I'm like, I'm not joking. So basically what had happened was,
Do you have some fish earlier?
What had happened is that we started talking about this old thing about this extra foot underneath the table at the Last Supper, and he's like, "Yeah, I remember that." And I'm like, "Guess what, brother? Check this out." Boop, 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 boop. And I pulled up the Last Supper. He's like, "Oh no!" And I like seen it on him. He started crying, grabbed all this shit, bro. And I'm like, "Dude, are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, man. I just gotta go. I just gotta go." So yeah, bro, that's like medium level stuff here, man. There's medium level stuff going on now. We need something that's big enough.
Huge, man. It's huge.
The population. That's the whole thing, man. I don't want to wake up one day and suddenly the sky is red. Well, I know the sky was blue, then it turned silver because of stupidity. I don't want the sky to be suddenly red one day. I don't want to wake up one day and suddenly have 12 digits. No, dude, we have to get this done before something dramatic happens. That's why I said it's time to do this. It's like, there's no other way to explain it, man. It's that way. I've sat here and gathered my dots my entire life. I'm not even 30 yet. I've gathered my dots and I started drawing the picture.
Well, 12/1 is about 8 months away. We got Gary for that. I mean, so it's only 8 months away.
What I'm saying, man. And it's not the whole thing that the world's going to end, Grandmaster. The whole thing is that that's whenever we get another shift. Like, we can't die. Like, the thing is that
I don't think, to be honest, I don't think the world will ever end. It'll just be a shift.
Will move. It's automatic. It's consciousness. It can do what it wants. The whole thing is our consciousness will automatically move to the nearest plausible thing that we can manifest within. It's an automatic
kind of respawn.
Exactly.
We respawn.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. That's how come they can control A within a file, drag and drop, and say, okay, now we're here, and delete the file so nobody can go back in there. That's the whole point. That's the point of the homesick meme. Let me see if I can find it so I can actually read it out. What hurts the most about this night cord reality is that where you came from, your old self, the old earth, it is simply not there. It was destroyed. Yes, home is gone. Now you understand what I have been screaming. The Mandela effect was caused by the elite. You might not be able to take back your home, but we can sure fight for this place, even though homesick is what hurts the most. That's basically what that means, brother.
Big time.
Like, there's no way to go back. Let's fight for what we have. Don't we isn't there a way that we can actually we discussed this about a week ago, I think it was, to me anyway. Like, tomorrow morning we're going to wake up, we technically won the battle, the resistance has won. If you can't handle it, please proceed left to the nearest mental facility. You will have food and bed and clothing and warmth. If you want to be an imbecile, if you want to be a butthole, and you don't want to abide by the very few rules that we will put in place, please proceed right to this extremely maximum facility, extremely function facility, maximum facility. If you want to stay here, if you want to agree with us, please proceed forward. Here is utopia.
Now everybody's they're all laying the hands on a virtual pillow, man.
That's the whole thing. We're sitting here stuck in this virtual puzzle. Why not fight to make sure that it's our way? Like Vinnie Paz says in the song End of Days, we're in a mental prison. It's a prison for our minds. We're stuck here. We control this body. The body is the car. The mind is the driver. The spirit, the essence, the soul is the engine. Your chakras and everything else, all this spiritual stuff that everybody talks about, the chakras, your ankh, the kundalini, all this stuff everybody's talking about, that's the fluids that run through the car. This is what I'm talking about. I've sat here and gathered all my dots, picked up dots that I've thrown away, and I've drawn the picture. I can see the picture. I know what's under the big picture. The big picture has been drawn over at least 5 times by my recollection. By the way, all these dots connect together. There's a lot of stuff going on here. And if 2 years ago it was under 14,000 changes, I wonder how many changes are now.
It probably doubled by then, bro. Doubled or tripled by then, or maybe.
Especially if it's this noticeable. Like, who can actually raise their hand and remember that all 3 from Back to the Future jumped into the DeLorean because of the trapezoid-shaped van started shooting at them? All 3 of them jumped into that DeLorean. Look at Robert over there shaking his head like, hey, I suddenly remember this whenever I was like 12 years old. This guy's talking real shit. And what happened? Didn't Dr. Brown tell Marty never open the window while he was undoing a banana? Never opened the window, rode down the window, ate the banana in a hole, and threw out the banana peel, rolled up the window, and went. Look at Rob. He's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened, bro. And that's all I remember of that movie. That's all I can remember of that movie. That's it. That's the only memory of that movie.
This was right after he came back from 1955.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like they went to 1955 or something and did something. I can't remember the rest of the plot of the movie. But if you remember all 3 of them jumping in the DeLorean, Doc telling Marty never roll down the window, rolls down the window and throws out the banana peel, you're from this reality with the deck of 21. You're from my first reality, my home reality.
Because him and Marty and that chick we're going to take the truck somewhere, and before they left, here comes the DeLorean, and they all leave.
Anybody feel like your clothes don't fit right? You're like the line of your clothes used to actually sit on your shoulders, and your clothes actually used to be comfortable. Well, your answer is
until I take a major shit. Does it fit better? I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm talking about the actual sewing. I'm talking technical shit here, Grandmaster.
Yeah,
the actual
sometimes
sewing of your clothes, like, it don't feel right. Like, it don't fit right anymore, man. Like you can even look at it whenever you hang up clothes. It doesn't line up quite with the lines of the seams anymore. That's another Mandela.
It seems they changed it a little bit.
Pull out. Yeah. That's another Mandela effect that people won't pull out because you're talking to a person who's been on this. Let's put it this way. I noticed the shift the moment it happened. This time from 2 to 3, I realized the shift the moment it happened. Like, I can pinpoint this to a date. Like, I can basically sit here and state that like I said, the internet's only been regurgitating this for 2 years. I've been on this for a decade. I've been on this a decade. Because whenever you mess with somebody's body and you suddenly put their spirit, their essence, their soul into an extremely bad clone of them, wouldn't self recognize that they're not within self's first car? Like suddenly I had a Ford Mustang. I had a Ford Mustang, and then all of a sudden, what the fuck is this Ford Echo doing here? Let's explain it that way. Like same company, just a different model. It looks a little different, like a very bad clone. Like even marks on your body, stuff on your body. You get what I'm stating here? Not stuff that like okay, I understand how things appear, but how is something literally supposed to say, okay, I don't want to live on this part of the body no more. I'm going to pick
Well, the
up
one thing
residence
that
go to
occurred
another
that
district.
was kind of weird was I was talking to an old friend of mine, and before reading and the conversation, I heard click 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 click
Yeah, man.
during the conversation. I asked her, "You hear that?" No, it's a click. It's like a loud click.
I can answer that for you, Grandmaster. Everything that's electronic has this like in the old days, you used to open up your CD players, your portable CD players, and you used to see the sticker on it that said FCC Federal Regulation, blah 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 blah. Well, basically that states that this device, if it sees anything that it can receive, it will receive it no matter what. And that's how every electronic is. That's how this computer is. That's how that phone in your hand is. That's how that phone on the desk is. That's how those headphones are that are in your head. Anything that it wants to receive, anything that it can accept, it will accept, no matter what.
I told her it wasn't no click from a pen.
It's not a random chance.
It was a loud click, 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 click.
It was like the Morse code transmission signal got interfered with your signal while you was in that call with them, and it ran through your signal to bounce off to where it was supposed to go.
But this was weird, though. I'm like, this never happened at all. Period.
I know, guys.
In a million years. Okay. We're talking, and it's a loud click. Right. 4 or 5 clicks, like click, 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 click. But it was no click of a ballpoint pen. This was a loud click, 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 click. And still trying to find out what it is.
Hey, everybody! I'm about to break the fourth wall real quick.
Could it be Morse code? I don't know.
It might have been. I'm going to break the fourth wall real quick, everybody. Hey, viewers, remember that barrel of salt I told you to make sure to bring? Well, make sure you get the scooper because here it comes. I am actually, like I've already stated, I'm a being that comes from 3 different realities. Let's put it this way. My very first reality, since I am what I am an immortal being. I understand that I am the engine. I understand I am my spirit. I ran all the way to roughly 250,000 AD. Yes, 250,000 years in the future, 10,000 generations. All right, I figured this out, and basically, I came back because more or less, this elite has got into a realm of understanding that they wasn't allowed to even step upon a universal war, which basically they fired a weapon, a anti-frequency device that canceled out the universe. More or less, everything here is waves. Everything here is waves, and if you do the opposite wave, you can cancel out the wave. Makes sense? It's science here. It's science here, people. So basically, I came back to prevent that, and I came back to before this part of everything started going malfunctioning. And that was the second reality. Well, since they suddenly decided to, we have this technology now, we're going to push this random button, see what happens. We got shifted into this third reality. That is what I'm sitting here stating, people. And yes, there's a reason why I didn't do the starting point here. I just basically said, yes, I've ran through this reality once, came back, and started going through it, and they pushed the button and jumped us to reality 3. Because your barrel of salt might be empty if I stated where I began. So I'm going to let somebody else talk now. The Haunting, what's up with you, man?
I'm just absorbing everything.
I know what you do, man. I'd like a little regurgitation from you.
Well, I'm trying to think like you talk about, a sudden shift, just yesterday, in fact, uh, this is weird to me, and it's mechanics out there. Hopefully you can explain it to me. Um, at work, we had a vehicle that went into the shop and had a radiator leak repaired. Well, we also noticed that there is a jerk in the engine. Well, the mechanic, when he drove the vehicle, said he didn't feel a jerk. And I was like, okay, so I drove it back and I still felt it. Okay, I get back to the office, and since I felt it again, I tell my boss to drive it. She felt nothing. And as of right now, I've not gotten any notice from anybody that there's a jerk in our vehicle.
On the steering wheel column or in the actual transmission shifting of gears?
Whenever I'm in a idle, when I'm driving, anything, I can feel it. And it feels like it's towards the back, maybe in the center of the vehicle.
I'd answer this. I'd answer this question this way. You're probably hypersensitive, which is a good explanation because that actually exactly explains that because you're obviously awakened like we are. You're probably near the ascendant stage, if not on the ascendant stage, like we are. I'm guessing here. You can validate if you wish to or not. It's the whole thing of you being hypersensitive to things compared to the sheeple not being as hypersensitive as you are. They will not realize something as that, whereas somebody who actually is at the hypersensitive level will actually realize that. Because, yes, you're talking about more or less a vibration that is very slight but noticeable at a certain exact point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm stating here? You're hypersensitive to it. And in a sense, I'm going to go off and explain, I think it's called the observer experiment, where basically they rapid fire shot electrons into a single slit of metal, and they put it on a blackboard, and it came out one white strand. Okay, so basically they thought if they put up two slits through the metal and they rapid fired electrons, that it would come out two strands. Well, they rapid fired the electrons, and it came out as several strands. So they sat back and thought for a moment, and they was like, okay, we'll fire one electron at a time. And after like a set period of time, like 6 hours instead of an hour last time, it still came out to several bands of strands. And they was sitting there still wondering how could one electron interact with itself. There were so many random possibilities. So they decided to put a measuring device in front of one of the slits to see how many times it did and how many times it didn't to actually variate this factor. And you want to know the weird thing was? You want to know what the electron did? Because of your residual consciousness originally thinking that it would make two slits, because two slits make two rows, right? The residual of that consciousness made the electrons realize that there was an observer, like the electron had consciousness. Everybody, the electron had consciousness. Cells have consciousness. Sorry to blow your mind, but yeah, that's the truth. You two know this, but I'm just stating. The electron noticed the observer. The electron realized. The electron observed the observer. The electron reacted as the observer was there and created two slits on the whiteboard because of the residual effect of the observer already having the hypothesis of thinking that it will create two slits. Now, if you actually took the perfect open-minded observer to watch it, guess what? You would get as many slits as that person would unconsciously. Do you see what I just said there? Unconsciously. As many slits as the observer unconsciously. See how that makes sense? To people like us, that makes sense. Because technically we're connected
Hugely.
to our unconscious. We're connected to our unconscious in a sense, more than most people are. You know that 10% of your brain that you so-called use? Well, guess what? That 90% is you giving it away. How about you use Newton's law? Use one of the Newton's laws. Put negativity into the universe. You want to know why you put negativity into the universe? You want to know why you cast your negativity to the universe? Equal and opposite reaction. Equal and opposite reaction. Positive energy will come back to you. Equal opposite. You cast your negative, you get positive back. Okay, I'm going to stop my rant for a moment. You guys love whenever this is completely unfiltered, don't you?
Yeah. Censorship sucks nutsack, man. I like to go uncensored, unfiltered.
This is exactly what it is, man. And the only thing is that wait for the overs, bro. And if you're
the one thing that I ever experienced was like one day I went with my dad to my aunt's house before she passed away, and there was this chair. We're sitting at the table. I turned to my right. I see this chair. I've seen this chair before. Okay. This was like 6 to 8, 9, 10 months ago. I see this chair in a dream or whatever it is, vision, whatnot. I see this chair in my dream, in my vision, whenever I see. Then I go with my dad to my aunt's house. There's this chair. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, weird shit like that, bro.
And this is like the 5th time that I did this shit. You know, like see something in advance, all of a sudden, later on in the week or the month, or whatever, dude, like shit. This is the 5th time I did this shit. You know, like fuck.
Weird shit. Just weird shit. Weird shit going down. Weird shit going down, man.
Okay, so I just now thought of something. Okay, there's 2 shows that I've watched. One of them we just mentioned a little bit ago was Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Kirst, but I'm going to say this is like the best way I can explain what you're trying to say to people to a point where they might be able to understand. The other show is called Legends of Tomorrow. And both of these shows talk about how if you go into a time and change something, that it's going to change the future. Now, put that into a concept of these changes are happening, but there's a residual effect and everything to where you can actually remember something that somebody else cannot.
That's the word, residual. That's the word, residual. And in a sense, I want to actually state that I'm more or less a Mandela test subject, because I can actually remember whenever I was a single-digit child, back whenever I was actually handed all this information that made religion more or less null, and I knew how to do my stuff the way I knew how to do my stuff.
Null and void.
Basically explain it that way. Yeah, it just basically made religion null. So basically, the whole thing is that I remember they made it seem like a dream, and you'll understand why I said that in a moment. I would suddenly wake up in a classroom scenario where there's kids around me. It's a classroom. There's a guy up there. He's doing classroom stuff. We're being taught stuff. You get what I'm saying? It's basically a classroom. And then suddenly I would wake up in my bed the next morning. Like weird, like weird, like it would like weird. Does anybody understand what I'm trying to explain here? Like it wasn't school. Let's put it that way. It wasn't the school that I go to. It was a weird classroom.
I've had a dream scenario happen to me that is absolutely really intense. and very strange. Like I've yet to actually have anybody explain it to me and everything. If you haven't figured it out, I am a juggalo. I love ICP,
I can
and like
smell that.
you, cursed and everything. I listen to music when I sleep. Well, one night I went to bed listening to all five at the time of the Joker's cards. The dream that I had that night, and I think this is where the change in my consciousness really started to manifest, basically, is I was sitting on a couch that I had in my room,
Great Millie.
staring at five figures. Those five figures being the Joker's cards that had been released at the time. Okay, all of them just staring at me. You have Jay and Shaggy on either side of me, and that's all I can hear. I can't make out a word that they're saying. It just sounds like
I know
gibberish.
that. I know that. I know that. Okay.
Okay. Now, after that happens, I look over into a corner, and there's a dark figure in the corner. Me personally, I think that might have been the sixth Joker's card that hadn't been released. Okay. Right after, there's a flash, and then it comes back. I see my face, and I have halves of Jay and Shaggy's face paint on my face. I look at a chair that's sitting next to my bed, and my physical head is sitting in that chair, and I wake up.
Because you realize that you was separated from yourself, and you thought you died, but you got brought to the nearest thing to conscious memory. Okay, the whole thing is that I will basically sit down and state this really quick, and this will like probably define the entire dream. Let's just say Juggalos ain't no religion. Juggalos is a spiritual thing. Juggalos is a spiritual thing. And my buddy, he goes by the Crow. He's taught me a lot because the Juggalos taught him a lot, and I learned a lot. And then this guy comes in my life and was like, these figures, and I'm like, whoa, dude, the Great Malenko blows my mind. Like, I cannot be around the Great Malenko below. I cannot be around the Great Malenko unsupervised. That's like real talk right there. That's reality talk, bro.
Where the fuck did my fucking lighter go?
The last place you're going to look.
Yep, on the floor.
So, Grandmaster, give us some insight on this gray force, because I'd like to talk about that for a moment because of the split personality of the universe, and we need to not go white, we need to not go dark, we need to go gray.
Yeah, man. I'm going to, again, step into the Star Wars area here. And before the Jedi and the Sith, there were these Jedi. They're Jedi. And they land on Tython, and there's two moons, Ashla and Bulgan, the dark and the light. If you're light, that falls to the dark side, go to Ashla, the light moon. And if you're a dark side coming to light, you go to Bulgan. That's the dark side moon. And in the middle is the Bendu. It's the balance between both light and the dark. Which makes a Force user a gray Jedi that relies on power of both the light and the dark, but still maintains the light. The Bendu is wholly not the light or the dark. It's the exact middle of It's the gray. So I mean, whether you want to rely on the dark or the light, there's a lot that rely on being in the gray.
And now, if there's any way that you can all put all of this together, because I'm about to show you something.
Okay. Well, again, I'm getting into Star Wars area again.
Again, dark. Grandmaster, I sent you something, and I'm trying to send you something to see if you can audience.
Okay.
Will it send? Yes. Try to show that image to our viewer audience if the elite will allow you. Try to show that image to the viewer audience.
See what it is here. It's
Because we're basically trying to make a Venn diagram of the original layout, or more or less combine these two together, which is basically that image doubled over. And then we want to put that image on top of it like a Venn diagram. We have to get this out there. There's no other way I can explain this. We need to Venn diagram this image. What we're doing is, in doing this, we're remerging the split personality of the universe. The universe became a split personality. And this is what created all these different extracurricular activities within this overwhelming amount of simulated computer program stuff. In a sense, this is the goal of the game. This is the goal.
Yeah.
This is how we beat the game. Because we don't want to make another game because we don't like this game. We want to figure out what happens when we beat the game. We don't want to quit and go to another game now. Like, I'm trying to put words of understanding of a concept. Yeah. It's a wordless concept here. We want to beat this game.
You want to beat it by using a very strategic way, using your head, because the brain is a very powerful muscle in the human body. You can strategize. The most smartest guy can outsmart the toughest guy. Brain over brawn.
Exactly, man. That's basically what I'm sitting out here trying to scream. I've been screaming this for a decade. The universe has split in half, and we're trying to reconnect it. We're stuck. We're stuck. Consciousness has split itself a half amount of eons ago, which means that within the computer simulated program, consciousness decided to say, fuck this shit, and decided to be a different entity. So they made two. Is what happened, everybody, to explain a wordless concept.
You need to go gray.
You need to go gray because consciousness itself decided, hey, fuck this shit. We need to be two different things for a little while. We're not agreeing. So if we
it's
can
like,
make
it's like a force user balancing the power of both light and the dark, but himself is the gray. His body's the gray. His body is feeding off both the light and the dark to stay on his life form to.
So basically, to me, logic dictates merge these two images together to recreate the split personality of the universe, to recreate the universe the way that it's supposed to be.
That's like, why is Mace Windu's lightsaber purple?
Right. And
because what color does red and blue make? Purple.
And the whole thing is that the color stone that your lightsaber glows actually is your personality type. The style of your handle determines whether or not you're a Jedi or Sith. But your personality type is determined by the color of the crystal that suddenly lights up for your lightsaber.
Yeah.
The handle decides if you're dark or light or gray.
Yeah. Big time. Big time, pig time. No bullshit.
And the whole thing is that the Mandela effect is basically okay. Let me back up a little bit. I went ahead of myself. We've had all this overwhelming evidence of everything that's going on. We had all this overwhelming evidence to prove that religion is just this planet, and that we need to get on a universal understanding of things, because if we're stuck on a planetary understanding of things, we can't grow. There's no way we can grow if we're stuck at a planetary understanding of things. We need that universal knowledge. So religion is a planetary thing. So we need to get away from religion, like as an entirety concept.
Religion's bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much. And the whole thing is that we've had all this overwhelming evidence to null and void religion. Now with the Mandela effect, as I get back where I was, now with the Mandela effect, they've given us weapons, unknowingly have given us weapons to actually come out here and actually have the power to break some of these sheeple and be like, hey, yo, your reality ain't real. Ping. Hey, yo, your reality ain't real. Ping. Go figure it out. I think the haunting just went dark for a moment.
No, I'm still here. I turned everything off because I'm going to take my meds.
You're fine, bro.
You're good, man. You're good, man. You're good.
I got my meds right here.
Donkey.
I ain't got much ready for me, but I got some meds ready for me to go right now, bro. I need that or I can't stand reality. I get kind of aggressively angry, but I have that calm rage. Yeah. I'm pretty bad, bro, whenever it comes to being angry. So I kind of make sure I have plenty enough medication to keep me calm. So we've been at it nearly an hour. Does anybody have any other dots they'd like to bring up and examine?
Today's podcast.
Messages and music? Or me explaining that I'm one of the survivors of your witch trials because I actually hid because I'm an eclectic mage. Well, I became an eclectic mage. We'll just say I became an eclectic mage. Eclectic means you studied many things from different masters and you've accumulated the knowledge. I'm not saying electric. I'm saying eclectic.
Well, the thing is that the whole witch trial thing is it was three things: a civil asset forfeiture, which property stolen, a big acid trip, and also a mass murder. Now,
Definitely.
what I mean acid trip is that back in the day, they used these seeds to put in the bread. For it to work, they got to boil these seeds. So these seeds have chemicals in them. When you put them in boiling water, the steam would come up, and the chemicals from the seeds would come up through the steam. Now, if you inhale the steam, you're inhaling the chemicals from the seeds that's boiling in the hot water. Okay. It would make a person hallucinate and shit. A big ass fucking acid trip, man. You like hallucinating and shit.
Yeah, you want a whole sheet of dabs? Go breathe in from that boiling pot if you want a whole sheet of dabs real quick, bro.
But
yeah, I knew I'd get a reaction out of Robbie from that, man.
oh yeah, man. The asset forfeiture back in the day is that if you had a good massive property, animals and everything else, and you're doing good for yourself, somebody will accuse you of being a witch, working with the devil and shit. And there's no defense. You either confess or you don't. Either way, you're dead.
Yeah, you confess, you get burned out. You get your choice of how you die. You don't confess, well, we'll just keep on trying to kill you.
But they'll say, well, if you confess, we'll forgive you all. Well, forgive you all, on all your sins. Bullshit. You're either stoned to death, hung, or burned alive like a fucking lobster on crack.
Why do you think I chose to get tossed in the ocean, Grandmaster, and came to this side of the fucking planet? Those people were fucking mean.
They were the judge, the sheriff, and then the attorney was all involved in this shit.
Yeah, them people were fucked up.
It was a Ponzi scheme that was involved with a good acid trip, a mass murder, all the shit, all in one.
Yeah, that was my exact quote. Exile me.
Decades later, the governor said, "This is enough. Enough's enough. People are dying. And the people are dying, big time."
Yeah. I was like, yeah, exile me. Throw me in the ocean. Throw me in the ocean. I'll be fine. I don't even care if you tie me up and put weights on me. Exile me. Let's go. Come on. Because back then you can actually see that purple orb that's sitting in my hand. Some may not. But yeah, moving along.
And then messages from music. I mean that's a really good one. There is that because if you look at certain genres, I mean, certain messages are getting out there. Not all of it. It's not, I mean, not all at the same time or all at once. Messages are being a little bit here and there through movies, TV, music, comic books, video games, literature, history. I mean, it's all being put out there a little bit here, a little bit there, piece here, piece there, and and it's waking a few a huge majority up pretty much.
It's pretty much
And
basically what I stated to my buddy about 8 years ago. Whenever I was like, I'm gonna have to rewatch everything I've ever seen, and he's like, "What do you mean, dude?" It's like because of this reality shift, dude. Do you not see what I see? Do you see what I see? I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and guess what, motherfuckers? I ain't got no more damn bubble gum.
I remember watching G.I. Joe as a kid. I watched the original G.I. Joe cartoon as a kid. And there's an episode where people were being brainwashed through subliminal messages on TV.
Predictive programming as well.
And this was like 1984.
MK Ultra.
And
here's some more dots, people.
Oh yeah, I mean, they had also. I mean, I didn't even notice until years later to realize.
Get your thought out, Grandmaster.
I've seen this one before. 34 years ago.
Yeah, movies that are suddenly released that never existed in reality pop out. Movies with different name titles pop up. But let me get my thought out real quick. All right, you want to know how MK Ultra works? I'm going to tell you the science of MK Ultra right now. You ready? Everybody pay attention real quick. All right, between this wavelength and this wavelength, it is harmful for the human brain. Do you want to know a fucked up law in America? No television set can go below this wavelength or above this wavelength in America. It is against the law. What did I just say about these two wavelengths that are my pinky? Anywhere above this and below this is not harmful to the human brain. Is not harmful. Not harmful. Anywhere outside of my pinkies is not harmful. It is illegal in America for it to be above that or below that. So guess what that tells you, people? That's logic, MK Ultra, to your face. So basically, they're intentionally making every TV set that is in everybody's house that is turned on have a harmful effect to the human mind. You know how I normally get rid of that? I buy a computer monitor and I stare at the computer monitor all day.
My TV can be used as a computer monitor.
That's kind of what I do. I kind of make it an HDMI input, so hopefully it's like frequencying at a different decimal of range somewhere within the non-harmful. Because I have enough to actually do that.
It has the HDMI thing on it. Well, I can hook up my laptop to my TV.
Right on.
And I could just do whatever.
Like we're on TV and the internet at my house anyway.
And so I mean, it's pretty much what we try to soak in all the information and shit, and try to we'll receive it, but we also want to transmit it out to the triple motherfuckers and shit. We're sponges, but also we are like transceivers to take it from in then out. In comes the signal, out comes the signal. In comes the information, out goes the information.
Everybody knows what gets wetter when it dries. But what gets drier, the more wetness you put around. Wait a minute, how did I do that? What gets drier whenever it wet? How does the real one go? And then I'll be able to do it. What's the answer to what does a towel do? It gets wetter as it dries, right?
Yeah.
It gets wetter as it dries. The towel gets wetter as it dries. What gets drier as it wets?
Wets.
What gets drier as it wets? Think about it. Does Robbie know the answer? He's nodding his head over there.
I just hope it ain't Hillary's vagina, man, because that was some sick shit there.
No, this is a real joke. This is a real thing. Robbie know the answer?
I don't.
Okay. What does a sponge do? You squeeze a
Soaks
sponge.
up.
You squeeze a sponge and it wets something as it gets drier.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you. I put my middle.
Oh yeah, sponge, man. You soak it
Hey,
up.
that was a good song you shouted out there, man. That genre, it's a genre. Nightcore is a genre. It basically speeds up the background. And a lot of people complain about it sounding like chipmunks, but there's intelligent people out there that make it actually sound like people are talking instead of the chipmunk squirrels are talking, and make some really epic stuff out of a Nightcore version of a decent song or a really epic song. They remake, and they've even got songs where they mash them together and make a whole brand new song, and it's like, holy snack pickle. It's like snack.
Man. Oh yeah.
It's like
well, I mean, it's one of those things. If it's sped up and everything, you put it into your media player, go into the settings, and turn it down.
It's like, or go listen to the original version of the song. Oh, wait, some of these songs are mega mashed with Nightcore, so they're Nightcore genre mega mashed. So technically, there is no other version except for this one, but that's how you do that. You'd actually download the physical song and slow it down to your preference. And you can do that yourself on a YouTube video. Now I've noticed, like, last time I was on a mobile device, which I don't use mobile devices often, people. You can actually click on the gear and it'll allow you to do the speed thing where you can slow it down or speed it up. Because besides music on YouTube, anything that's like informative, like I watch speed runs of video games since I can't play video games. So I watch people, i.e. either break video games or really quickly go through an entire video game, like in an insane speed, like how did you beat that game that fast? Shit like that. So I watch that shit on double speed anyway. So it's like, so yeah, I can comprehend stuff at double speed, and people are like, "Can you slow that down?" I'm like, I can understand everything that they're saying, and I slow it down to 1.5, and I'm still all right. And they're like, "Dude, I still can't follow." Like half of them were like, "Dude." So then I put it down to 1.25, and they're like, "Okay, maybe I can follow this." It's pretty cool, yeah.
Well, it's like my family with chopping for hip hop music. Everything like Tech Nine, Twisted Insane, and all these extremely fast rappers. I'm sitting there, I'm jamming out, and I'm singing it word for word, and they're just like, "How the hell do you understand what they're saying?"
Yeah.
But then again, I also chop myself, so.
Yeah. So
I was playing a song by Adam Sandler. It's called "A Piece of Shit Car."
I've heard it. You put it in the lounge one day.
I was playing it while I was playing GTA 5 online. People were fucking laughing, dude. Like, what the fuck, dude? Literally laughing.
all right, yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Now, going back to your whole the speed runs through video games, there is actually a game out there. It's called Far Cry 4. Sorry, that you can beat the game in 8 minutes, and it's not a speed run, but you can beat the game in 8 to 10 minutes flat. And the way you do this is there's a point where you're at a table in front of the main villain. And something happens where the main villain has to walk away. And he tells you to stay here, and he'll be right back. And it gives you the option to sit there and go up and find a way out, which opens up the entire game. But if you sit there, he will come back. You will have a conversation, and the game ends.
Wow.
Damn.
That sounds almost as epic on real Final Fantasy VI, where as soon as you get the martial artist guy that can do the combo, the Mortal Kombat style moves, and then he does a special move, as soon as you walk out on the world map, as soon as you don't do anything else, you're just on the world map, you don't go into any towns or anything, and it's like you get less than 40 game overs in a row without doing anything else on the world map, don't go into any place, just get less than 40 game overs, and guess what? Credits roll.
That's like on Modern Warfare 2, you could kill General Shepard before even going to the end of the game. Just like you're at this shooting range, tactical shit, and you can like shoot him. You can see him and shoot him, and out of the blue, game ends. It rolls credits and shit.
Damn.
Or Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater.
Is that 4?
You have.
That's 3.
That's 3.
Yeah, that's 3.
You've got the end, the sniper. You can actually kill him before the battle. Because you'll see him, there's a part where you're over a lake, and you'll see him sitting on the pier. If you're fast enough, you pull your sniper rifle out and shoot him in the head, he dies. You never have that battle.
Nice. Because there was a few times where I've actually made him die. I made him age long enough for him to die. And the weird thing is they now say, here's a Mandela effect for real, bro, because I did this back in the day, and it messed with me hard. Okay? All right? They say now that you have to wait an actual week before the end dies. Okay?
Yep.
Well, let's put it this way. Back in the day, whenever I first played through this game, I couldn't beat that guy. I couldn't beat him. He kicked my ass terribly. I didn't know where the fuck he was shooting me from. I didn't know shit. I had no strategy on how to fight this guy. So what I did was I turned off my game, and I went back months later. This guy was not dead. Okay? So I decided to pick up the game again, put away the game again, because I actually read online, and all it said was wait long enough. It was back in that day where they told you, if you wait long enough, he will die. I'm like, dude, I've been waiting 4 fucking months. He's still alive. What is the problem here? And I mean, like, I saved during the fight. Like, I'm getting my ass kicked here. I'm inside the fucking building. I saved. That's where my save point was, inside that first building after you get your ass kicked once or twice.
Did you know a guy on meth created Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, I knew that.
That explains a lot.
That's why Tails is so fucked up, and Tails can kill you. That's why your buddy can
Because the
kill
guy
you.
on meth created Sonic the Hedgehog and shit.
Yeah, that's why your buddy can kill you and freeze the game.
There's another Mandela effect.
Well, here's the thing
A guy got
about
meth
that
created Sonic the
fight.
Hedgehog. That's why he runs.
Like, I don't know if they patched this or not, but when it comes to the end and when you're actually fighting him and waiting a whole week, if you go into your settings and change the date a week later and then come back to the game, he'll be dead.
Oh yeah, they can't change that technical glitch. That's an unchangeable glitch. Now you can actually fast forward dates. That's how come, like we was talking at one round table. Fast forward your computer date to as far as it can go. I have a weird feeling it won't let you go past 2,500. It won't let you go to 3,000, dude. It'll go 24.99 and then it'll flip over on you. Just like in the old days.
There's a glitch that I used to do when I played on GTA Online. We would do the Pacific Standard heist, and we would go and right as we reach the bikes, and we get ready to go to the boat. I would go to my garage, pull out my armored Kuruma, pick up my fellow crew, and we would go from my garage all the way to the to the dinghy in the lake, because you would ride instead of that, you would also do the bikes, where you gotta ride the bike all the way over through the hills and shit. we would take the armored Kuruma and just drive from there all the way other way to the lake, and there's the boat. We take off. But that was the glitch that Rockstar Games really shut down, because that was a very, very popular glitch there.
Right. Anybody got any final thoughts to wrap this up on?
Yeah, man. I mean, people need to wake up to a lot of the shit that we're talking about, because you know what? If you don't, hey, they're a lost cause, man. They're a lost cause big time.
Hey, man, if nobody outside of our circle reviews this video, and if not everybody within our circle reviews this video, I personally don't care. We did it. That's the point. We did it. That is the point of it, that we actually sat down, took the time, pressed the record button, and sat here and recorded all this. That's the point. We sat here.
My question is this, okay? You and I did video on your thing last week, right?
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
40 minutes was taken. 40 minutes was taken.
No, 30 minutes.
40 minutes.
Added to it. 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes?
Yeah, 30 minutes was about added to it. Like
I hit the link for that. It was 1 hour and 19 minutes long.
Yeah, my original video was 45 minutes long. Just to state that the original video that I originally tried to grab a copy of, and they kept on saying, no, you can't have a copy, no, you can't have a copy, was 45 minutes long. And then suddenly I refreshed the page. No, I did not refresh that tab. I opened up a new tab, and there was 119 minutes or something like that on this new tab. And I waited a little while, and once I actually refreshed the tab, that was a 45-minute video, and that one became an hour 19-minute. It finally let me download the
Weird.
So, like I said, I already stated, I'm going to pull this as soon as I have the ability to pull this, and we'll have a hard file myself of this. And as soon as I pull this, I'm going to drop the link in the roundtable. Like, I have a copy, and here's the link. Tin Man, you need to intro, outro this.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm Curse Zero. I am a resistance warrior.
This is good old Grandmaster Revenue.
And we're affiliated with TWWRN. I am the overlord of the clan. Grandmaster himself has personally been a member, and I believe the Haunting just established himself as wanting to be a member.
I'm also a founder of the Anonymous Liberty Media podcast and channel on YouTube.
Anything specifically you want to state here to say, the Haunting?
Just open your eyes and see things for what they are. You know, the more people that actually see things for what they are, the harder it's going to be for them to do the things that they're trying to do. And then to quote a band called Machine Head off the same album that I showed you earlier, wake up, America.
Yeah.